Alright, so today we're going to be talking about the 2011 Kawasaki ZX10r. Okay, this is my personal bike. This was the first year for the Gen 4 generation. We're going to have a look.
Bottles on me, long as someone drink it. Never drop the ball, fuck it y'all thinking. Making sure the young money ship is never sinking. About to set it off in this bitch J.E.T. I shouldn't have drove, tell me how I'm getting home. You too fine to be laying down in bed alone. I could teach you how to speak my language, Rosetta Stone. I swear this life is like the sweetest thing I've ever known. About to go Thriller, Mike Jackson on these niggas. All I need's a fucking red jacket with some zippers. Super good Smitto, a package of the swishers. I did it overnight, it couldn't happen any quicker. Y'all know them, well fucking me either. We'll point the biggest skeptic out, I make them a believer. It wouldn't be the first time I done it, throwing hundreds, but I should be throwing ones, bitch I run it, I changes.
2011, they only offered 2 colors, which they might offer 3 now or something or other, but at the time, 2011, it was black or green. I chose black because bikes always look good in black. Alright, so the mods that I did. We'll start with the exhaust. Alright, so as far as the exhaust, I went with the M4 GP. I did a lot of research on it, and I thought it sounded great from all the videos that I saw. You got rid of the stock catalytic converter, which saved me 11 pounds alone on it. It looks great, sounds great. It'll throw a flame here and there if you just play with the throttle just right. It went on really easily. I just had to disconnect, I believe it was the servo motor with 1 or 2 wires, and within, I don't know, maybe 25-30 minutes I had the whole thing installed, and it was great right out of the gate. A month later I think I removed the baffle because I was like, it's not sounding as loud as I want it to be, which was deafening. So I pulled the baffle out, and that's that story. So next, so the end goal was to do stage 1, right? So I pulled off the gas tank, and right above the valve covers is the stock air cleaner, right? So we pulled that out, and then put in a K&N filter, and then while I was under there, we took the ECU out, and then sent it off to Gould Motors, which I believe they're in Pennsylvania. So the package took a couple days to get there. I mean, I literally had this ECU back in the motorcycle in like, it was like 5 days tops. And so what they did is they removed all the restrictions. I talked to Mr. Gould, I forget his first name, but he was a nice guy, and he asked me what I wanted to do with the RPM. So I said, give me like what most people are doing. So he said most people with these exact bikes do 14.5 as their top rev. Boosted me up 20-25 horsepower, give or take. Claimed at about 207 horsepower with ram air. I haven't heard of when ram air achieves that 207, but I'm figuring it's above 100 miles an hour. Ram air duct is actually pretty huge. I believe as Motorcycle USA described it, you could fit a squirrel or two. But it definitely is big. It looks pretty cool too. It's like this big gaping hole right in front. The fender illuminator, which you know, it looks great. It's really simple. And then I put on the tank pad. For the, as far as weight saving, I mean, it's really not that much. You know, they spent so much time trying to keep the weight down that there's just a few things that you can do with a budget, we'll call it. You know, if you want to put wheels on, you could definitely save weight there, but it's going to cost you. Took off the passenger pegs, which I saved about 1.5 pounds, give or take. So I was having issues with my battery where the FI light was coming on. So if any of you have an FI light on a ZX10r, you might want to think about checking your battery, because it came out afterwards that although your factory battery has enough cold cranking amps, it has barely enough to meet the spec of turning this motor over. He mentioned going with a company called Shariah, which makes lithium-ion batteries, and it weighs as much as a cell phone. It's like unbelievably light, unbelievably small too. They even give you pads to put in your battery holder to fill up the space. You know, pads of like, you know, very, very light foam. So, never had an FI light issue after I put the battery in. Done. And I saved weight. Normal battery weighs what? We'll agree on 4.5, 5 pounds. This thing weighed maybe a pound. Pros and cons about the bike. Straight line power is disgusting. Disgustingly fast. First gear. I love how tall first gear is. Some people may not love it. I know a lot of people gear these things down a little bit just to get more acceleration, less top end. But I kind of like it where it's at. Although that can bite you in the ass sometimes because you don't make any power until you hit about 60 miles an hour. So if you're going off the line, you might get beat just because of that. But in the real world, you know, unless you're at a drag strip or you're with your friends doing a organized run, then most of your quick little races are going to be on the highway at a rolling start anyway. I mean, I've started a race at 65, 70 miles an hour where I actually downshifted into first on the highway at that speed. People thought I was nuts, but I still had a lot of room to go in first because first will go out to 108. Let that sink in. 108. Okay, it's sunk in now. Another con, let me think. Low end power. It does lack a little bit on low end power and some mid range. One more thing I really like is that this bike actually came with a steering damper straight from the factory. And although it's not incredible, it does work. So anyway, I think I'm going to wrap it up here. I don't want to make these videos too long. Just so you guys know, this is a brand new channel. I'm going to start doing reviews on things with motors, not Honda Civics, and not your typical run-of-the-mill stuff. It'd be kind of cooler stuff that, you know, the guy's going to want to know about and get the real story on it. I might do another one on this, the Deluxe, and possibly on this, but I figured the first video, I'll start on my bike. So anyway, please subscribe, help me get this thing started. Any comments, you know, keep it civil, ride safe, and I'll see you guys soon.